Welcome to the Northwest Bruin Football Show. I'm the head coach, Josh Robinson. This past Friday for homecoming, we took on LaFayette High School at Bruin Stadium and came out on top 37-20. Really good night for our guys. We had kind of a slow start to the game, but overall, with all the distractions and things that can kind of get in the way of the football team on Friday, was really alleviated with a good performance by our guys. And we love having all our alumni back, and we're very appreciative and excited for all the young ladies that are out there. But young men are sometimes easily distracted, and our guys found a way to fight through that. And despite a slow start on defense, we were able to come back and really control the game in the second half, which was really nice. On offense, our guys did a really good job. Started out maybe a little more crisp than we have, possibly than any game this year. Starting out with Owen Brooker's passing stats, he was 19 for 28 with 196 yards and 2 touchdowns. Owen continues to improve week by week by week. His Mondays are typically his worst days at practice because of a few days off. Those are getting a little bit better. His understanding of the offense, and we're starting to be able to do some more things. And RPOs are the catchphrase that everybody loves saying, even though they may not be sure what they mean. We're able to do that a little bit more, and Owen's doing a good job. His number of bad throws are getting reduced each game, and every quarterback from the NFL all the way down to middle school are susceptible to doing things wrong. His numbers decreasing by the week, and we're really impressed with his improvement. Rushing the ball, we had a good night. We're really proud of our offensive line, our guys up front, Reed Chadwick, Jacob Harden, Kason Kittle, Dayton Cowart, Harrison Kiker, and Damon Banta came in and played an awesome game for us at right tackle for Jeb Brooker. They all had a very productive night. And before I talk about the running backs, talk about those guys. Reed Chadwick is a returning starter who has probably played as good the last 2 games as he has in his career, and that's kind of the way things should be. Damon Banta is a guy that came over from defense. He's really a linebacker, and he's been unselfish. He's not, you look at him, nothing about him physically says being an offensive lineman. He's done a really good job for us, and those other guys rotated in. Kason Kittle, good to have him back off of injury, and then Jacob Harden and Dayton Cowart and Harrison Kiker, they're all playing really well right now, but we need them to continue that climb and ascension and become better as we continue on through the season and hopefully on into the playoffs. Gavin Ellis, our running back, probably had his most points he's ever scored in a Northwest uniform for sure. He had 3 touchdowns on the night on 19 carries for 74 yards. Continues to do a good job. Gavin runs hard, and we know that, and we really like him. He's got to start seeing the cutback a little better and has improved a little bit, and we've got to continue, but has done a good job there. Adrian Reyes, sophomore for us, is starting to get a little more time and come on and establish himself as that third running back. He had 2 carries for 56 yards, and he'll continue to see those carries increase as he becomes more mature and understands what we're doing. Bryce Mantooth on the night, who wasn't feeling well, was sick. Still came in and did a good job picking up 3 carries for 11 yards. And then Owen Brooker had 3 carries for 7 yards on the night to finish out our rushing. Actually, our freshman Dominic Smith got, I believe, his first varsity carry. He had 1 carry for 2 yards. So overall, very good night rushing the ball. On the receiving end, we had 2 guys have an exceptional night, but we had a lot of involvement, which is exactly what we want. Matthew Redmond had 9 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown. Matthew continues to play both sides, do things in special teams. He's really become an integral part to what we're doing, and it really is a focal point for us. And as defenses start focusing on him more, as we've had people do, we've got to have other people step up, and that's where Callan Neely came in with his best game of the season receiving. He had 4 receptions for 52 yards and a touchdown. He had some big catches, did a really good job for us. We're really excited. He's a hard worker. He's been in our program for 4 years, and to have that kind of production is what we need. His brother Preston Neely, coming off a gigantic game last week, still had a very solid game for us with 3 catches and 35 yards. He did a good job blocking. So overall, a good night out of our receivers. We definitely want to get Cooper Pardee and Braden Morrison and Ray Morrison and those other guys involved, but they really did a good job for us. Gavin Ellis had 1 catch for 9 yards, and Bryce Mantooth had an additional catch for 4 yards. So overall, a very productive night. Off the top of my head, I believe we were right around 350 yards of total offense. We threw an interception where we were on their end of the field, and we got stopped on the 2-yard line or so that we really should have scored on. So we even feel like there's a couple of more opportunities to punch one in and maybe get some more points. But, you know, scoring and winning is not easy. I've always said that no matter who you play. High school sports, you know, every week's different. Young men are going through different things, and our guys came out and scored 37 on a night with everything going on that pointed towards not really paying attention to football as you should, and our guys were able to do that. So hopefully we continue to improve as time passes. At this time, let's take a look at the first half highlights. We started out on defense, and they're running one of their patented counter plays here, and Zach Coslow gets a tackle for a loss. We've been kicking the ball all sorts of directions. It's worked out in our favor most of the time, but here, unfortunately, they got it near midfield, but a great job by Logan Akins catching the ball and celebrating with his team, and we come back on offense, give our offense great field position to start the game. Very, very good catch by Matthew Redmond there, good throw by Owen Brooker. Good protection by our O-line. Running play action here, throwing again some RPO stuff to Callan Neely. We mentioned him earlier. Had a great night with his receptions. Here is Gavin Ellis on the cut, and a really good job at the end. We need to keep that ball tucked away, but a good job by our O-line. Awesome job by Gavin getting in, and Logan Akins on the snap, Matthew Redmond on the hold, and Yahir Zapata on the kick, and the Bruins go up 7-0, and quickly, as you saw there on the scoreboard, they scored about 4 plays later, unfortunately, and we get the ball back on offense. And here we are. That's a completion outside to Matthew Redmond. Here's Owen turning loose. Needs to turn it loose and run. At the same time, we want him to get down, not take any hits. Run the trap. Case and Kittle on the trap there. Very good job by, I believe that was Gavin. Here we're running RPO. Great job by Matthew picking up the catch. Good read by Owen. Again, that's not easy. That's something for an experienced quarterback, and Owen does a great job there. Gavin with a tough run. We come back and we throw it again to Matthew, and he works across the middle, very similar to what we had called earlier. Get down on the goal line, and just an outstanding read by Owen. But kind of how the play's set up as well. He has a progression he goes through. Again, things that we didn't do early in the year because he's a freshman. He's starting to become more comfortable. Our defense kind of kept him out of the end zone. Good catch by Gavin Ellis. Ends up picking 8 or 9 yards up there, getting us in a 3rd and short, which is very manageable. Good run by Bryce Mantooth. Again, not feeling well in the night, but he still needs to get his feet up. He's got a chance for a bigger play. Great catch by Preston Neely. You know, we hung in there against that safety who helped out. Run the screen down here on the goal line, and Bryce does a good job. We end up not scoring, unfortunately, and we do a good job by our defense of keeping them from really getting out. Good pursuit right there, backside tackle by Dakota Hickman coming in, and we end up keeping them back down on the goal line. They run the counter here. I believe that's Colby Ramsey and Logan Akins. Put a lot of pressure on the last few punters, and he ends up snapping the ball over the head to make it 16-7. We come back and we're running some play action. Owen does a great job of keeping his eyes downfield. Just again, showing that maturation process. He's certainly not perfect, but he's doing things that we need in order to be successful. We end up stalling out, getting a great punt off by Matthew. He punted one short. That kind of hurt us earlier, but here is an outstanding job keeping them hemmed up. We had them stopped. We're going to tackle them here for a loss. Unfortunately, McCamish falls off, but Cooper Pardee in on the tackle. We fall off and allow them to go down and score, let them out of a couple of 3rd down situations, but our offense comes back, moves the ball a little bit. There was another completion to Preston Neely, a good pull by Owen. He's running better there. He's just going to, you know, as he gets bigger and stronger, he's going to have more confidence. Our O-line kind of bowling people over, picking up a 1st down, and we come back on defense, and we hadn't played exceptionally well. This is kind of where things started falling into place for us, doing better. That's a great tackle by Chase Humble, fighting the hold and the tackle for a loss. We end up tackling them here, and we call a timeout in hopes that we get a chance to maybe come after a punt. They end up throwing another completion. We call another timeout. just again trying to preserve as much on the clock, give our punt return team a chance, but you're going to see a great interception, maybe the best since I've been here, one-handed by Logan Akins, very acrobatic, good job by Kobe Ramsey getting out and blocking. He tight ropes the line, gets down to around the 10-yard line. The very next play, we're going to run sprint out here, good protection up front, except for the backside, but a perfect pass that drops over that Matthew Redmond gets for the touchdown to put us up by 9 points. Extra point is good for the Bruins, and it's 23-14. And again, we're not onside kicking it here. We're just kicking it multiple ways. Our kickers are doing better and better, understanding we end up recovering, going the half up 23-14 by 9 points. At this time, let's take a look at our corporate sponsors. Welcome back to the Bruin Football Show. I'm Josh Robinson. Defensively, really kind of disappointed in how we played the first few drives. I believe the first drive we got them out, but then they were able to score maybe their third and fourth drive. We started out slow, and that's something we can't do. They're two very talented young men, and they have a very good offensive line that executes and does a good job, and Coach Ellis has done wonderful over there at LaFayette since taking over. But, you know, we just weren't playing fast. We were scraping bad on some things and just missed a few tackles and let them out of third down situations that we haven't before. So overall, not a great night, but probably one of the most enjoyable stats and most telling stats, and a very important stat that we need is we haven't given up a touchdown with our first defense in the last 4 games and 5 out of the 6 this season. So it's really important to go play well in the second half, obviously on both sides of the ball. We've been extra tough on our guys, running conditioning, weight room, all that kind of stuff, probably even more than we have in the past. And I believe our guys are seeing the dividends. They've been able to take the adjustments we're making at halftime and go out and really execute them. For instance, they were really hurting us with the buck sweep. And on the cutback, and there were some things that we did to change our fits that our guys had to kind of adjust to on the run, and that's not always easy for young men. We're talking about the ball snap, and 1 second later you've been trained to do this, and now all of a sudden you've got to adjust and fit somewhere else. And our guys were able to do that, and that's really a telling fact and very powerful for us as long as that continues. The other side of that is we have to go back and we have to be better executors at the beginning of the game. And I feel like, you know, I believe Temple scored in the first quarter, LaFayette scored in the first quarter, Stone Mountain scored in the first quarter. So as good as the more important stat about not allowing a touchdown in the second half is, we've got to get out to faster starts. And that's going to be ultra important as we travel to Pickens on the rest of our games left on our schedule in order to achieve the things that we're working for. Let's look at our stats now. Zach Kozlow, defensive lineman, had 6 tackles and 1 tackle for a loss. He continues to control A-gap. They doubled and triple teamed him all night long, cut him a lot, sometimes illegally, and our guys just fought through and were able to adjust, and he still found a way to get in on a lot of tackles, especially for an interior nose in a 3-4 defense. Dakota Hickman came out very productive at 7 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 pass breakups, and 2 quarterback pressures. So filled up the stat line. Now on the other side of this, I believe Dakota knows that this wasn't his best technique game, and Coach Miner's definitely going to press him to play more disciplined football. He got upfield a few times, just some things kind of out of characteristic of him, but he was able to fix those as the game went on, especially in the second half, and played much better, and really his stats started rolling in at that time. Chase Humble, who continues to play through some nicks and bruises and pains, had 7 tackles, but more importantly had 4 tackles for a loss. Anytime you can get that many against with a 3-man front, and you've got those many tackles for a loss, I believe 7 overall between those 3 guys, that's a really big deal. A couple of our JV guys, guys that may contribute in the future, came in. They scored their last touchdown on our backups, and our JV defense kind of mixed in. We try to get kids as many plays as we can. Jonathan Caribou came in with 1 fumble recovery and a tackle for a loss. And then De La Paz had a tackle for a loss for us as well. So those guys were really productive. Again, you know, I'm not the kind of guy that when we were up 37-14 with 5 minutes left, 6 minutes left, whatever it was in the game, we're not just going to leave our guys out there for some sort of stat or to beat our chest or try to get somebody a record, those kind of things, or run the score up. That's not what we're about. Coach Ellis and I talked after the game. He was worried, him calling a timeout upset us, and I was worried that our running back kind of breaking free at the end of the game when we've got our JV in, and we're really just trying to get a first down and make the clock move. And we had a great conversation. I believe both of us are kind of on the same page with our football team. And that's really the way it should be. No matter, you know, this game isn't about me. It's not about Coach Fisher or any of our coaches or it's about the young men, and we're trying to get all of our guys playing experience, and we really work through those things and try to get those guys in. We haven't had a ton of opportunities this year. We've played several close games. You can't just sub everybody out when you're up by 13 points with 9 minutes left. Your guys need to be in there and try to prevent them from scoring and trying to score on offense. But at the same hand, when those opportunities arise, we're always going to put our kids at the utmost importance. We're going to sub in and give those backup quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, O-line a chance to execute and do the things on a Friday night. And I don't care what the other team does. If they want to leave their starters in, that's great. If they want to put their JV in, that is wonderful too. And it's the same thing on defense, getting them experience and guys rewarding maybe a senior or a junior who hasn't got to play much, rewarding them, and at the same time carrying on and being really effective with our guys that are coming up and getting them some experiences at a premium. Our linebackers had a very good night. Our outside guys continue to really rack up some stats. Jordan McCamish had 13 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, and a quarterback pressure. I believe that puts him right around 80 tackles in 6 games, which is a good number, just continues to get better. Jake Fawcett, who was playing in the place of Bailey McQuaig, had some scrape issues. You know, basically that means running to where you're supposed to once the play goes kind of away from you early in the game, but he really fixed those, did an admirable job for Bailey. McQuaig, who was missing in the middle, Jake Fawcett ended up with 11 tackles and a quarterback pressure. Logan Akins, can't say enough about him, had 7 tackles, which isn't an outstanding stat. It's a very solid stat for what they were doing, but the 2 interceptions were huge. He intercepted, I believe, on their first drive, intercepted, I believe, the second play of the game, and then right before the half, he snagged one out of the air, one-handed, brought it down, returned it inside the 10. We were only up by 2 points at that point, and we were getting the ball to start the second half, so I called a timeout in hopes maybe we could pressure the punt. But he made an unbelievable play that led to a score by Matthew Redmond receiving a touchdown from Owen the very next play after that, and we scored with only a couple of seconds left. So that was huge for us. Momentum shifter and a 9-point lead, 2-score game is big going in. So a very good job by Logan. Colby Ramsey continues to have an outstanding year. We're so proud of him and the work he put in. He had 10 tackles, a tackle for a loss, a quarterback pressure, a pass breakup, and a fumble recovery. So there again, filling up the stat line. He's being very physical. He's a big kid, doing a lot of good things for us. He's really smart, helps get everything done up front that we're doing with our slants and blitzes, and we're able to make some adjustments, and he's one of those guys that was able to execute the adjustments we made. Damon Banton, we've already talked about him on offense. He also played 15 snaps on defense and several special teams, so he was playing a lot and did a great job for us. He had a tackle. Trevor Martin had a tackle and a tackle for a loss coming in there late in the game, doing a good job for us. Bryson Cox came in late in addition with Trevor Martin and was able to get a tackle. Very good for those guys who are seniors to come in and work hard to be involved in the game and get some playing time. Then we have Hayden Pack, who had 2 tackles and a pass breakup on the night. Hayden continues to improve for us. We have really 5 secondary players that we feel really good about. And the good thing is when you got 5 and multiple guys can play multiple positions, it really puts us in a chance to, and this is not a threat for anybody, but put pressure on them to play better. Competition is one of the things that brings out the best in people, especially young people. And Hayden is one of those guys that we can count on and rotate in and rotate out and plays multiple positions for us and does good things. Jacob Sanders had a really good night for us, second week in a row, had 9 tackles and a fumble recovery. He continues to kind of be on the ascension of where we expect him to be at this point, to come in, lead us. He's experienced, started every game since last year, so he has played well 2 weeks in a row. Keaton McQuaig had 4 tackles and a pass breakup, and Keaton's the only sophomore that's getting significant playing time right now. And if he continues to mature mentally pre-snap, he will continue the upward progress that we need to be successful as the year goes. And then Matthew Redmond and Cooper Pardee are both starting on offense and split time over there, but also they play multiple positions for us. Matthew had 3 tackles. Cooper had 2 tackles. So, those guys are very talented young men. We're going to continue to work in and do the things we need in order for them to be successful. And they're going to continue to put pressure, all the whole group, on each other, because if you don't play well, you're going to end up on the sideline with other guys playing, and that is the best thing for young people as they start to learn that. At this time, let's take a look at the second half highlights. We start out the second half receiving. This is one of the reasons we typically defer to start the game, is regardless of, the first possession's big. And here we got to go a little bit faster with our blocking, but still a good job. Cooper gets in there, does a great job returning for us up to the 34-yard line. We're a little slow on our pulls there. We should have kicked that guy out. But Gavin ends up getting a tough 6 or 7 yards for us. On 3rd and short, we end up breaking a pretty big run. Gavin hits it hard, but he's got to continue that hard running as he gets through, but still a first down for the Bruins. Very good job by Callan Neely, tight roping the line, coming up with a big catch. Here we are running the inside screen, which I'm a personal fan of, to Matthew Redmond. He does a great job of getting in. Our O-line does a wonderful job of getting it. There's a good catch by Callan. That the safety was there all night to kind of lay a big hit. And then Gavin really, you see the weight room and the off-season come in play, and we go up 30-14 with the extra point by Yahir Zapata, and that's really big. We're up by 16 points. That's 2 scores, 2 two-point conversions. Here you can see our adjustment. Colby Ramsey does a great job getting them stopped. Chase Humble making a really athletic play. Zach Coslow, Jake Fawcett, those guys getting in on a tackle. And they kind of got a little drive here on us, and you're going to see this kind of continue on as a host of Bruins tackle them. And our guys just kept churning. We were making some fit errors, but also, again, I think they have 2 really good players back there in the backfield. As you can see, 5 is really fast. Great tackle by Dakota Hickman down on the goal line. Second down here and long, and we get a good play on the back, and we end up taking the penalty. They run a draw and get some yardage on us, and we stop them just short of a first down. And then they end up getting the first down, and they have first and goal from inside the 5, and there was 3rd down, and here was 4th down. Great job by Jacob Sanders, who we were using in their formation as an extra defender. We end up getting them out 30-14, and we're in the 4th quarter now, so it's really tough. Good job by our D-line getting their hands up. Now we can apply more pressure and make them feel uncomfortable. Colby Ramsey right there to play the screen, as we talked about all week. Again, our kids being coachable. Good pass breakup by Keaton McQuaig. A good blitz here by Jake Fawcett. He ends up getting through and really making the kid throw the ball high, which is really good. And at this point, we're playing it safe. We get a punt off. Great job. They were in punt safe. Good job by Matthew. Ends up being approximately a 40-yard punt, which he has been averaging. Now they've kind of gone back to running the ball and really just trying to grind out the clock. But again, there's enough time left. We don't want to give anything easy. Great break by Hayden Pack. He definitely wishes he could have that one back, but a good job by him. Here they're having to throw some easy stuff, and there you see Hayden Pack coming up and missed tackle a little bit, but Jordan McCamish and I believe Jacob Sanders in on the tackle. Another good blitz by Jake Fawcett, and we end up making them punt. Good job by our guys, and Matthew Redmond on the jet sweep here gets the edge and picks up some yardage for us. Here we're faking the jet and handing the zone off to Gavin. Just a good job by our O-line. At this point, it's 37-14, and we really, the game's in hand, 4 or 5 minutes left, 4.5 as you can see there. We're getting some other guys some playing time. There's a caused fumble, I believe, by Jonathan Caribou. There's Trevor Martin in on a tackle. They're running the draw down the goal line. Great job by Bryson Cox coming up and laying a lick at the end. They're trying to power it in, and again, they got their varsity starters in against our JV, so something that's very exciting. And great cut by Adrian Reyes. And again, good for Adrian, but we really didn't want to score right here, so we wanted a first down. So, and then we decided to take a knee. We've already discussed these things because all that matters at the end is that the Bruin side says more points than the other side, and we finish with a final score of 37-20. At this time, let's take a look at our corporate sponsors. Welcome back to Northwest Bruin Football Show. This past Friday, as we mentioned, was homecoming, and we want to congratulate all of the young ladies in the court. I know that is such a big, important deal for anyone that has a daughter that makes that far and has that opportunity to be the homecoming queen. We had some very worthy candidates, and Veda Cage, who has been with us and is a very known face in our school building, came out on top with a win as far as being a homecoming queen. But really, we want to congratulate her, and that is great. But at the same time, it's a really big night for all of those individuals. I want to talk about some other things that are going on at Northwest. Our volleyball team finished second in our region, so they'll be traveling to Woodward this week for the local region district tournament that's going on. We wish them, Miss Eichard, or Coach Eichard and her assistants, best of luck as they go forward. They certainly can come out of that with a chance to have more playoff games going forward. We had our softball team season unfortunately end, but they had a good year. I believe they ended up the 3rd seed, and I believe played Oconee at Oconee and ended up losing that. So congratulations to Coach Middleton and his staff on a very successful year, and all those seniors as we go forward. Our JV team remained undefeated. They're 6-0 right now, and has one more game left with Southeast, so we certainly hope they finish undefeated. Our freshmen improved to 2-2 as we beat Pickens this past week as well. So good things are going on. We hope you come out. Gigantic game over at Pickens County High School. If we win that, it really sets us up closer to hosting a playoff game and having a chance at the region championship like we want. I know it's a long drive, but let me plead with you as a Bruin fan to come out and support these young men who are putting in so much effort. Until next week, I'm Josh Robinson.